Hey, welcome back everyone. It is now November 2nd of 2020, and ever since the very end of the Skywalker saga, a lot of fans around the world have been very intrigued about the future of the Star Wars franchise by Disney, Lucasfilm, Bob Iger, Bob Chapek, you name it, and exactly what's all going to happen in the next couple of years for the overall Star Wars franchise and what the Star Wars fandom is going to think about the franchise in comparison to now. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel for future Star Wars content. Now, so far we have had a fantastic start with The Mandalorian Season 2, Episode 1. A lot of fans were very much impressed with what Disney put together with the first episode, let alone Jon Favreau, by the way, the real man responsible for The Mandalorian Season 2. Now, when we go ahead and take a closer look at everything Star Wars and what's really happening behind the scenes, obviously they are making drastic changes over at Lucasfilm in order to really give the fans authentic Star Wars material. And what we mean by authentic material is that they're going to stay closer to the source material from the 1990s and the early 2000s and what George Lucas created many years ago from the very beginning. Now, given that Kathleen Kennedy is only working on one Star Wars TV series and that's it, that already gives a lot of fans hope about what Star Wars is going to look like in just a couple of years from now, right? So, with that being said, of course, what's really exciting all has to do with creators like George Lucas and the Disney CEO, Bob Chapek. Let me say one thing about Bob is that he has really been doing a fantastic job as the new CEO while Bob Iger is showing him the ropes to becoming the proper CEO that he needs to be to run everything Star Wars, Marvel, and more. However, when it all comes down to George Lucas, this is where things begin to get very exciting for sure. Now that both Disney and Lucasfilm are finished with the Skywalker saga, they are now focused on their new Star Wars universe that is set to give the fans something to look forward to in the next couple of years. Now, it's explained that Bob Chapek and Bob Iger are making drastic changes to the new Star Wars universe in order to focus more so on evolving the franchise. However, creator George Lucas is said to be hard at work on restarting many aspects of the sequel trilogy in order to give it a fresh start into the new universe and how Star Wars will be handled moving forward. Now, initially also, it's explained that George Lucas is actively working on developing new cuts of both The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker for Disney Plus that are set to drop on the streaming service sometime in 2023. Further, it's explained that this massive change by Lucasfilm is to give the fans the deleted scenes that were cut from both The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker into the new versions of episodes 8 and 9 that will give the sequel trilogy a brand new feel overall. Now, it's noted that this change will also involve the true presence of Anakin Skywalker, portrayed by actor Hayden Christensen, and that George Lucas is working on a more meaningful ending of The Rise of Skywalker and even will be handling the death of Luke Skywalker in The Last Jedi in a different way for the fans to witness. Now, let's stop right here for a second. Now, in case you guys are out of the loop, there are two cuts coming out on Disney Plus in around 3 years, give or take. You know, we got all of 2021, 22, and for the most part, 23, until we're even able to see these new cuts of the films. They plan to drop it in holiday season of 2023 on Disney Plus to really give the fans a different take on The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker and more. So about this massive change, I'm not quite sure if a lot of fans are going to be very much appreciative of this. I know a lot of fans out there will be very excited about this and will really accept it. But on the other hand, you know, you're also going to have a lot of Star Wars fans out there that feel like it's going to be a waste of time and that they should be focusing on more important things. And that's pretty much a given, right? When we go ahead and check out what Lucasfilm is doing, they already have over 10 years worth of Star Wars projects in the works alone. I mean, that's just alone. That's just TV shows that's separate from the movies themselves. And that just goes to show you exactly what they have in store for the Star Wars fans and the overall franchise overall. Now, the fact that they are going to be making massive changes to the death of Luke Skywalker in The Last Jedi and how Jon Favreau will be helping George Lucas with that, and how it's also going to include a lot of deleted scenes, many of which will have to do with Anakin Skywalker getting placed into Episode 9, I think personally it's going to be quite a thrill to see exactly what Disney has to offer when it comes to these two new cuts of episodes 8 and 9 and what it really means for the new Star Wars universe. Let's not forget that, Kathleen Kennedy is the one responsible for deleting so many of the scenes from episode 9 and putting new ones in, and refusing to even let the fans see those scenes on the Blu-ray edition of the film. In fact, the Rise of Skywalker's editor even said there was so much Palpatine footage left over that they did not even know what to do with it. And that just goes to show you that there was a lot going into this movie that we did not get to actually see. So, moving on past that, alright, further it's described that George Lucas is going to reset many aspects of Palpatine's origins with becoming a clone in the sequel trilogy, and will be changing some of the major details behind that major revelation in the franchise that will make more sense to the Star Wars fandom. Now, let's not forget that the whole Palpatine clone thing was a last-minute retcon, if you will. This was a big retcon for fans. A lot of fans out there were very much confused about how Palpatine was coming back into play here, with episode 9 overall. And I think that at the end of the day, when we look at Palpatine as a character, there were a lot of confusing aspects in the overall new Star Wars franchise, the actual sequel trilogy, I should say, of what they were trying to do with the universe at the time. Palpatine becoming a clone and the whole Rey Skywalker thing, it really just was not working for a lot of fans out there. And that's exactly why they had to throw a lot of that into the novelization of episode 9 to make things make a lot more sense, right? So, past this, it's best described that Lucas is working closely with Favreau and Filoni on this new take on the sequel trilogy that will also involve brand new music by John Williams. Now, the new music by Williams will also give some of the existing scenes a new feel. Bob Chapek is said to have been that one that allowed George Lucas to reset the sequel trilogy in many ways, in order to give the fans something fun to watch on Disney Plus in the next couple of years. Plus, he was also inspired by the Snyder Cut of Justice League and what HBO Max is doing with that film. George Lucas is also going to give the fans some of the flashback sequences of Luke Skywalker that were cut from both The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker that will dive more into Luke's story of becoming a Jedi Master before the events of Episode 7. Now, this reset of the sequel trilogy is also going to change more of the character Snoke in the sequel trilogy, where Lucas will be adding a larger dynamic between Palpatine and Snoke that will be unveiled in the new cut of The Rise of Skywalker, and will also be giving a greater meaning to the concept of Rey Skywalker and how she will become a legitimate Skywalker at the end of Episode 9. Now, Lucas will also be releasing some of the cut scenes of Ben Solo from Episode 9 that will be inserted into the new cut of the film that fans wanted to see. This is best described as George's way to make things up to the fans and give the fandom hope about the future of Star Wars overall. Now, let's stop right here for a second, because Ben Solo had a lot more scenes in Episode 9 than what he got in the final cut of the film. That was all because of Kathleen Kennedy once again. Kathleen Kennedy was directly responsible for not even allowing, Ben Solo to have a larger presence in Episode 9. She didn't really want him to be a big part of that movie per se. And when we go ahead and examine, what's been going on, with Disney Star Wars, obviously they're trying to make things up for the fans. We see this with The Mandalorian Season 2. We see this with the Kenobi TV series now, of how they really, changed the overall script and shifted away from Kathleen Kennedy's scripts that she was overall, trying to give the fans a more politically correct version of the Kenobi show before it was changed. So, thankfully, overall, like I've said before in the past, is that Star Wars is changing for the better from what it seems. I'm just not quite sure if these new cuts of episodes 8 and 9 are going to be well worth the time, or if it's really going to benefit the fans out there. I'm not quite sure how the fans are going to react to this. A part of me says it's a waste of time, but a part of me also says it's going to fix the sequel trilogy in many ways out there. that a lot of fans, I think, are going to be excited about. So with that being said, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know think about all of this in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.